So we got a new dev diary for Norway this time, just released a few hours ago, and by few hours I really mean 1 day ago. Don't judge me, I don't even know when this video is coming out, okay? Just whatever, it's a Norway guide. Not guide, it's Norway Dev Diary. So we got a new mission tree for Norway. It is a delicious mission tree. It's got some bad news hidden amongst it, let's say. The fact that I don't see anything that revives Norse in here. It's not in the mission tree. Maybe it's triggered as an event. Maybe one of the starting provinces has Norse. Because if it doesn't, I will show you guys what 90% of the comments say. 90% of the comments say, oh, it's so disappointing not to have Norse religion. Still no sign of possibility to revive Norse religion. Disappointing. There's Zoroastrian cities, but there's no Norse religion cities. At least Greenland should have been Norse. No Norse religion, sad face. And there's many more like this. Guys, if anyone from Paradox watches this, I'm sure no one will, but just saying, add Norse in, please. I'm telling you in the name of everybody that plays EU4, we want Norse. Make it as an event. Make it really hard, but give us a choice to get Norse in somehow. All right, so let's get back to this mission tree. It's pretty extensive. Obviously, the first part focuses basically on the same thing that the Swedish mission tree focuses on, which is becoming a free country. You got 4 missions to help out with that. Then you get your liberty. Then after you won your independence, you even get the choice of getting a PU over Denmark, and we'll see more about that in a few moments. We got the first mission here. Norwegian allies can be completed by having 2 rivals or enemies of Denmark have 100 opinion of you. As a result, you can request their support through the following events. So they can give you military manpower, 10,000 manpower? What? Wow. Okay, that's pretty good. 200 ducats, 20 prestige, and for the duration of the independence war, 10% morale of armies, morale of navies, and so on. This is really good. This is going to be removed after the independence war, so keep that in mind. Or you can choose not to become an independent country and stay as a junior partner of Denmark if you're the AI. So don't be an AI, and then you get minus 50% liberty desire. So yeah, this is what it looks like from the viewpoint of the Denmark's rivals. Whenever you request stuff from them, they lose manpower or whatever, and then you gain that stuff. With the Norway-Denmark mission, which was right over here, this one in the middle, you no longer require Admin Tech 20 to form Scandinavia, and you get the following event when you have Denmark as your personal union. Okay, so you get the event once you PU Denmark, but you don't get a CB to PU Denmark, I'm assuming, because it didn't mention that. And then this gives you until the end of the game advisor cost minus 15, possible advisors, and nobility loyalty equilibrium, as well as Denmark loses 50 liberty desire. This is really great. So the advisor cost itself, it means that you can easily get 90% advisor cost reduction from the 1500s if you add in a few extra things like the privileges and the monuments and so on. While the main missions are all about reversing the flow of history and subjugating Denmark, there's also a reference to the Scottish Sinclair clan, which swore loyalty to the Norwegian crown with the mission Claims of Orkney. So you establish a Gaeldom subject, and they're a march, and they get cores on most of the Scottish land, as well as you get until the end of the game +1 diplo relations. That seems pretty powerful from this mission alone. So you essentially release this from the 2 provinces that you have, and they get cores on the other stuff, so you can use the reconquest, core reconquest from your march to attack Scotland. Then you get expel Danish nobility. Norway was badly affected by the Black Death and lost the majority of its nobility and royalty to the plague. As such, it was easier for the Danish nobility to replace them after the Kalmar Union. This is represented by 2 starting privileges of Norway, which are designed to be mildly annoying to have. So you start with noble courts and Danish nobility, and you got to get rid of these. And the penalties they offer is heir claim increase reduction, legitimacy reduction, and corruption increase monthly. And based on the land ownership, you also get tax reduction and so on. Yeah, these are horrible to have. And in order to revoke them, you just need 1 stability, and then you lose 1 stability. Doesn't seem so hard to revoke them. Obviously, you probably also need, to have more loyalty than influence. That's normal. But it doesn't seem so bad overall. I guess you can revoke these within the first few years. Moving on to the colonial missions, the Norwegian ideas, the call of our forefathers, and pioneer spirits are not exactly accurate at capturing the spirit of Norway during the 15th century, but they enable a unique playstyle for Norway where they are budget Britain. So you get to discover the North Atlantic and Greenland areas and some naval tradition, and then you can colonize via events, apparently, apparently the Greenland areas, and they're Icelandic, not Norwegian. You have to place 3 regiments of infantry in either of the Greenland provinces whilst they are not colonized. So you don't need to colonize, you just need to place 3 regiments of infantry. That is really cool. And then you get the following events. There's a percentage of you getting these events, with the lowest percentage giving you the settlement directly. Otherwise, you might just get the other 2 events there. When it comes to this event, obviously every single person in the EU4 community is going to alt M4 until they get this this outcome, and they get the provinces. They don't have to wait for the colonization. Yeah, schmelly boys. The rest of the colonial mission focused naturally on the colonization of North Africa, as well as expanding a little bit into South America. And you get great navigators of the North. Colonial range. Wow. 100 years colonial range. That is really good, man. That is really, really good. You also get a similar privilege like the Swedes get, where the Swedes have like Arctic provinces or something that they get dev cost reduction and forest. The Norwegians get from mountain, highlands, and hills, which is pretty cool. It mitigates some of the debuff of mountain provinces and highlands and so on, but it's not massive in my opinion, this one, the mountain expedition. You also got Leidang conscription that gives you 50% force limit for sailors, and you also have added in the new patch, in the new DLC, the 25% marine force limit from the doctrine, the naval doctrine. So Norway can get 75% marine force limit. That's a lot. That's actually a lot. Oh, and expand the Royal Navy mission improves your Marines. They give -10 shock damage received for Marines, which means they don't get any shock damage inflicted extra, because by default Marines get +10 shock damage. These guys are the same like regular infantry then, which essentially means that you have 2 times manpower pool, because you can use as many Marines as you can use regular units. Other missions of the branch are more about actually developing Norway. Restore the infrastructure will require you to develop Trøndelag, which is, I believe, all 3 of these are, I believe, are mountain provinces. You need to have 10 development, and then you get iron or copper found in your provinces. So for these few provinces, you get copper. I'm assuming this means you get the actual copper trade good, and not just a modifier here, because I see you also get a modifier for yearly tax +5 until the end of the game. That's pretty good. Once you get 600 development, you also get the ability to change to an empire, and stab cost -25% until the end of the game. Provinces of Nordic culture gain -2 local unrest as long as the Empire of the North is active. Empire of the North gets removed should Norway switch its culture group. Yeah, this is pretty good, but if you change your culture group, then it gets removed. So you can only get this as long as you are Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian, Danish, or Icelandic, I guess. Let's also talk about Carolians. The last Dev Diary, we showcased the Carolians. They nerfed the Carolians. You also get the allotment system for Sweden now, but it offers a land force limit -33% alongside 25% Carolian and 20% manpower. And Carolians get 10% shock damage and -15 morale damage received. They got nerfed a little bit. They're still pretty strong. This is still the strongest unique unit in the game right now. And they also increased their discipline by 5% instead of 10% from the Carolian March privilege, apparently. And there's a ton of new reforms, apparently. They show us some of the new reforms. For tier 2, we have curtail nobility. Okay, we got yearly army tradition decay, nobility and military command, air claim increase. This is poo-poo. Fort maintenance -20%. For the early game, that's pretty good, actually. Maximum absolutism is good as long as you switch on over to this later in the game, and it requires that you have espionage ideas. This one also requires to have aristocratic ideas. I love this. The fact that they did this shows that they're trying to make people play differently from each play style. Instead of always going the same national ideas, you can go espionage, so you can switch over to this privilege, or you can go aristocratic ideas, so you can switch over to this one, and so on. It's pretty good. I like that. I like that they're trying to make it a little bit more varied. For the tier 3, there's new ones as well. Reform progress growth is massive, by the way. Expand the royal court. And we have centralized bureaucracy is buffed. Decentralized bureaucracy, state governing cost. Okay, that's fair, I guess. State maintenance -25. Vassal force limit. Oh, vassalization acceptance. This is good. This is actually really good. State maintenance is good as well. State maintenance and this one. For the late game also, the maximum assaultism is pretty decent, although it disables the cold diet. This is the tier 4. Yes, the tier 4 governing reforms. Missionary strength from ulema. Resistance to reformation is literally useless. Tolerance of the true faith +1. Stability cost modifier -10%. These are average. They're not amazing. Oh, these are for Catholics, Muslims, Hindus. Okay, those are specific for certain religions. Now, these are the ones for everybody, I guess. Absolutism. Admin advisor cost -10. That's the normal one. All estates loyalty equilibrium. Okay. I hope they still have the default one, because the default one that gives the +1 free admin policies, that's way better than everything else. So tier 5, we only have one more. Yearly legitimacy 0.5. Considering it lowers estate's loyalty, screw that, man. Nope, not worth it. Tier 7 is another common tier. So yeah, goods produced is amazing. Domestic trade power, absolutism, but you lower Diplo reputation. This is really good as well, because by the point that you have the tier 7 reform, you don't care about your Diplo reputation that much, because you're probably going to kill everybody around you anyway. Production efficiency is great. Dev cost is great, but you need to have economic ideas. Trade power abroad is again good. All of these are great. Wow. Except this one. This is shit. The curtail the burgers. Everything else is really good. I like it. The dev cost reduction, obviously, if you're playing Toll, you want to go for this as well, which makes it even cheaper to develop provinces. And considering that it requires you to have economic ideas, it clearly means that it's tailored for this. I also have to say that the fact that it says here Dai Viet has not completed economic ideas, it doesn't mean that it's restricted to Dai Viet. It just means that the country they were tagged into when they took the screenshot was Dai Viet, which also makes me think, why would they be tagged into Dai Viet when they took the screenshot? Perhaps we will see something fixed in the Southeast Asian ports. I like to see some stuff fixed there, because there's still a couple of bugs they have. Yeah, so tier 8 and tier 9 are still a work in progress, but they will be added. So that's good to see that monarchies are going to get more tiers. They're going to talk in the next dev diary about Scandinavia. Afterwards, they'll basically release the new DLC a couple of weeks later after that. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, or I'll know that you didn't subscribe and I'm coming for you.